This episode contains material that may be especially upsetting to some listeners. Please check the content notes in the episode description for details and use your best judgment in listening. The script for this episode is linked in the episode description, and past scripts can be found at onceinfuturenerd.com/scripts.
The Once and Future Nerd, Book 2, Myth Made Flesh. Chapter 5, An Impregnable Missive. Part 1, by Ian Harkins, Shannon Harris, and Christian T. Kelly Madera. Part 2, by Zach Glass, Shannon Harris, and Christian T. Kelly Madera. Part 3, by Zach Glass, Shannon Harris, and Christian T. Kelly Madera. Part 4, by Christian T. Kelly Madera. As you may recall from the last time we spoke, Major Zicard had ushered Nia's parents into her confidence under the not entirely false pretense that Nia was in grave peril.
Peril? What kind of peril?
It's, best discussed in private. Will you come with me?
Of course. You're welcome in our priory, of course.
Thank you, but, let us use the garrison's keep.
If you think that's best.
The keep has provisions we'll need when my Lord Commander comes through. Will you come? I'm afraid the matter is urgent.
Lead the way, my lord.
I understand if you can't talk about it aloud, but could I at least see the letter?
My wife does worry so about her girl.
Well, it's in Helig, of course.
That's all right. We've a tiny bit of Healy between us.
You do?
Nia tried to teach us. We never got the hang of speaking it, but we could probably read well enough to understand.
Well, nevertheless, perhaps you'd better be seated in any case.
Galadin above. Is it that bad?
Come, we mustn't dawdle.
Major Zicard quickened her pace to a near jog, and the two reverends, after sharing a look between them, could not but follow. And as they entered the imposing stone fortress which usually housed Seahold's garrison, it was impossible not to notice the heft of the doors as the two elvish infantrymen quickly closed them.
Now, you had questions.
Where is me daughter? What trouble is she in?
Unfortunately, that information is classified.
But you just
However,
said that.
it is my charge to assist in retrieving her. And though it pains me to bring such alarming news, I hope there's some consolation that you can play a critical role in her recovery.
Galadin, help us. Keep me baby safe. We should never have let her leave Seahold. I told you, Ben. She was too young and naive.
Sweetheart, stay calm.
Calm, Ben.
Ben tried to console his wife with an embrace.
What do you need from us?
Well, although my superiors know much of your daughter's predicament, her exact location has vexed us. If you had anything at your disposal that may help us locate her.
The reverends loosened their embrace and peered into one another's eyes as if searching for a mutually agreeable response.
Anything at all? I'm sorry, you're understandably startled.
No, you are right. There's no time to waste. We'll need to head back to our priory.
But as Mildred took a step toward the exit, Zicard subtly, deftly, positioned her armored body in the way. The decisiveness of the gesture was not lost on Mildred or Ben.
Oh, please, if you must leave, allow me to escort you. Or better yet, send one of my pages back to town to gather what you need. We're a team now, you see.
Though the Major was smiling, the reverends could not detect the warmth of camaraderie in her eyes. Via another shared, piercing look, they communicated with each other their mutually agreed-upon response.
We know just how to find her.
Clergy throughout Jordan have a network that we use to stay connected with notices
Like marriages and who's expecting.
Yes, typically harmless messages. Everyday things like births and deaths anyhow, not missing children.
Sweetheart.
I'm sorry. Well, I'm not, but the point is, that's how we find her. MNN.
MNN?
Monastery News Network. Monastery for short.
Of course.
If we compose a message and get it to the rookery, it can be to every decent house of worship in the realm by sunup.
A most useful resource indeed. Shame, almost, that its use has been limited to quotidian goings-on.
Have you got parchment and quill? I'll get working on the message.
That can be arranged. Private! Now, I must warn you, we must be exceptionally careful in how we word our message. For reasons I cannot yet divulge, I'll need to carefully read whatever you send.
If you insist.
I'm afraid I must. For your own safety and that of your daughter, of course. As I said, we're a team now.
Major Zicard was, of course, awaiting the return of her commanding officer, Lord Realism, who was attending to some important business at the recently rebuilt fortress of Freehold. Now, I have been a storyteller since... Well, perhaps I shouldn't date myself. It doesn't help for casting. Let's just say I've been at it for a long time. And I know what I mean when I say that Ree proved herself quite the thespian as she addressed the Freehold garrison.
Citizens, soldiers, dearly beloved friends, it pains me to have to break this news, and to you whom the Knights of the Wood consider as close as brethren. A light has gone out in this land for all races allied with Galladon. Beloved Commander Bryce Riverfell has been assassinated.
How did this calamity happen, my lord?
Well, I confess, my closest advisors feared that promulgating the circumstances of this tragedy would be too harrowing for his devoted people to hear. But I have seen you all test your mettle in battle. You are my cousins forged in the fight, and I say you have the right to know. My knights had been searching for a particular Templar encampment for some time, and not too long ago they finally found it. I hoped General Riverfell would join me on our raid, as he knew the terrain better than we ever could, and was of course near peerless among men in battle. Brave as the general was, he needed no convincing. But before we could mount our assault, the mighty Bryce took ill. I came to realize, too late, curse my carelessness, that he had been poisoned. Ladies, farewell, I'm afraid. A most unfortunate way to die.
While most of the gathered crowd had fallen to lamentations over their beloved superior, the professor watched Reloteet like a hawk.
Now I shall not spare you these particulars, for they speak of his enduring love for his people. As he lay dying in my arms, he gathered himself to tell me, General Reloteet, help my people, protect them, for enemies gather from the outside all around. We must band together stronger than ever with our allies. What remains a mystery, however, is how his assassins could have gotten so close without being discovered. I will now submit myself to your questions. I cannot help you if I cannot understand you. Now, who is the ranking officer here?
Clarence is second in command, but he left this morning on a patrol, so I'm the ranking officer present.
Very well. I'm sure you have questions on behalf of your men?
Have you learned anything which may lead us to Bryce's assassins?
All we can say is what we know from past experiences. The Templars are adept in infiltrating the inner circles of their targets. They work in subterfuge to turn those on the inside. Usually someone who manifests a connection with the chaotic arts. I urge you all to be wary and vigilant. Any information, however small, could be vital to our investigation.
What of the girl, the one from the battle?
Do you mean the one called Jen? Wasn't a fortnight ago that she fought with us against the Orcish onslaught, killing not a few Templars in the process? Do you mean to suggest she was working with them this whole time?
Ree seemed to ponder.
Someone with those abilities would certainly be a target for the Templars.
And the Templars care little for the lives of their comrades, especially if it serves their grander mission.
With all due respect, Lord Commander, General Riverfell he trusted them.
Precisely what I mean. I hope we are overthinking it, but those interlopers would have been in prime position to set a trap for dear Bryce. Captain, can you say what Commander Riverfell knew of why they were here? Can anyone?
Brennan Greyfell and that peasant girl came to see the general in his study. He sent us away.
Bryce went to go see them in their tent before they left here. The mage girl would have been there too.
Put the word out that Jen the Mage is wanted for questioning in connection to the investigation.
It is prudence itself. Surely you can see that, Professor. I pray she has nothing to hide, but in the meantime I shall leave a retinue of elves to help in whatever way you deem. Now, has anyone any idea where our interlopers might have gone? Anyone?
A river barge left for Seahold off schedule. 'Twas loaded with food, only no one told me to deduct anything from our count of stores.
I see. The full picture falls into place. As a point of honor for the debt I owe Riverfell, I volunteer to go to Seahold to find the sorceress. Now to your posts!
We travel for a moment down to the frigid waters of Jordan's South Sea. Life here is hard, even in the summer. But now, as the nights draw longer and the sun grows more shy, it is only the bravest or the most desperate who still fish these waters.
Oh, damn it!
That was nothing.
We had a deal, Rollo. I fish, you shut up and steer the boat.
I haven't seen you fish in a week. I've seen you throw spears in the water, but I count no fish.
Rollo, I swear... Wait, I saw something.
No, you didn't.
Come look!
I thought you fished and I steered the boat.
Shut up! Come quickly, I think it's a seal. Maybe even a sea lion.
It's not a... Wait, I see it.
Do you?
I think it is a seal.
Where is she?
There. See her?
Yes, I got her!
The woman raised her harpoon to strike.
Get it, get it, get it, get it! What are you waiting for?
Shut up, I'm concentrating.
Don't let her get away.
And then she felt the tug in the rope that told her the missile had stuck in something.
I've got her! I've got her! Help me pull her in! Come on! Make some effort!
Almost!
With a desperate, mighty heave, they at last pulled their quarry aboard, falling backwards into each other from the effort. All in all, it was a pleasant moment of hard-fought human triumph.
Should we get a look at her?
Yes, let's.
But as they sat up to inspect their haul, both recoiled in disgust, for they had caught not a seal or a sea lion, but a decrepit human corpse.
Is that...
Dear gods, I think it is.
But seeing the corpse, one might forgive their initial mistake. What flesh had not sloughed off the bone was ashen and waterlogged, and the body wore a robe blasted by time and salt to a dull grey, which was now slick and shiny with accumulated seaweed. The resulting appearance was not entirely unlike a seal.
Should we throw it back in, or...?
No, you should not!
Who said that?
I did. Yes, hello!
Now sitting upright, the corpse, who you know as Renaud d'Esprit, proceeded to remove the harpoon that was lodged in his flank.
There we are. You may have this back.
He extended the safe end of the harpoon towards the boatsman.
It's hers. She does all the fishing.
She does? That's fine, I suppose. Nothing the matter with that.
How are you talking? I can hear you, but...
I'm missing my jaw. Yes, dreadful business, that. A lesson against keeping false friends. But the past is past, and by your comprehension, it seems I have mastered arcane speech. I knew I would, of course, but fish make poor conversation, so it was hard to be sure. My good man, do you not enjoy fishing? Is that it?
You're, speaking with magic?
Well, speech is but the movement of oscillants in the air. I am merely using magic to do what muscles in my throat once easily... I'm sorry. It's just that historically, men have tended to spearfish, probably because of their superior upper body strength.
My grandmother fished. So did her grandmother.
But that's not... I mean real history.
The two mariners shared a very perplexed look.
Do you need anything? Food? Or medicine?
It's really nothing personal. It's just that spearfishing was very important to my childhood.
Would you like a go then? My luck's been rubbish lately.
Oh, no, I don't fish.
But you just said...
When I said fishing was important to my childhood, I meant the general idea of fishing, which is, of course, a man's work. And I am very clearly a man, ergo, fishing is very important to me. And I'd prefer she not do it if we must get right down to it.
Look, I hope you won't take this the wrong way, but you don't seem well.
Oh, yes, there it is. So much for the tolerant fisherman. I'm trying to engage you in a civil debate about fishing and who is best suited to it, and you stoop to personal attacks.
It's not a personal attack. He means you've got no legs or guts and your skin's all falling off.
So it's shaming my body now, is it? Now we see who truly objectifies whom.
I didn't.
You're stuck up and ugly. I never wanted to bed you anyway.
What?
Hey, watch how you talk to her.
I can see you're both getting emotional.
Of course I am, you prat.
I don't see why. I've only been polite and rational.
I should throw you off my boat.
No, I don't think so.
No!
In many ways, being underwater so long was excellent practice.
Ah, cheeky bastard nicked me.
I long ago mastered the art of controlling lesser beasts, of course. But it's been a treat to practice it on beasts still living.
All right, you can fish, just leave us alone.
Oh, too late for that, I'm afraid. Off you pop.
Though they'd at first tried to fight off this alien onslaught, they were soon left with no choice but to throw themselves overboard.
Mind the water, it's a bit chilly.
You're a monster.
I'm a free thinker is what I am. Won't let myself be censored. Not by you, not by the college. Brilliance is a great burden, but I've the intellectual courage to bear it.
You're just roaming around in circles, you dolt.
You shut up and let me live in my truth.
You're still rubbing in circles just the other way.
I'm getting the hang of it.
Miss Bailey awoke in the common room of her own inn.
Hi.
She was slumped over a cold and uneaten dinner for two. Next to her was a fine old bottle of wine, which had been uncorked, poured from into Bailey's glass thrice, and then abandoned.
Curse. Now he comes.
Miss Bailey's anger as she walked to her door was as a thunderbolt cutting through the cloudy haze of too little food and too much wine.
Don't know what he takes me for. Lousy, flea-bitten tramp like him. Like I'm some dizzy young thing who can drop her chores and throw him a screw out back at the drop of a hat. Who doesn't have work to do. Bad enough I can barely keep a barmaid around for more than a week. Well, what do you have to say
But the man standing at her door was not the one she expected. Instead of her Bryce Riverfell, it was the captain known as the Professor who waited on her threshold, and she noticed that his sad eyes could not quite meet her gaze, despite his obvious effort.
Maeve, can we sit down somewhere and talk?
But Maeve Bailey's knees were already weak.
How?
The Knights of the Wood say it was a Templar assassination, that they poisoned him.
Thank you for riding out to tell me.
Are you certain I can't
I've
give
had
you
so many nightmares about this day. Now that it's here, I keep expecting to wake up.
Bailey reached up and pinched one of her cheeks until a single tear ran down it.
Worth a try.
I wish I had the right words.
Not as if he didn't try and prepare me. Soldier's life, this. Soldier's life, that.
The tears were falling thicker and faster now.
You needn't wait around on my behalf. I'm sure Bryce's men need you.
Maeve, look at me. I'm sorry, I really am. I've been dreading this next part even more than the first, but I decided you ought to know. Bailey's eyes were wide with concern as the professor leaned in very close. I don't believe the Knights of the Wood.
What?
I'm almost certain the Templars didn't poison Bryce.
Then who did?
The night he rode off with the Knights, I was in his study with him. He had a drink before he left, didn't offer me any, which, knowing him, I thought was odd. He kept the whiskey under lock and key and put it right back when he was done pouring. I think he knew it was poisoned and he drank it anyway. Probably even poisoned it himself, if I had to guess.
How can you say that about him? Why would you come here to tell me that? Get out.
No, you misunderstand. I don't believe he wished to die. I believe he preferred death to some other outcome.
And what have you decided that might be?
I don't know, yet. But I suspect he might have run afoul of the elves somehow. And worse than he feared death, he feared their reprisal might circle back to those closest to him. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
You could be in danger.
I understand. So, what now?
We've a very stark choice. I know that if Bryce broke some law or oath that meant his life, he had a very honorable reason to do it. And I also know that elves are relentless in the enforcement of their laws. So our choice now is how to honor his memory. We can honor his final cause and find out why and whether he came to defy the law, consequences be damned. Or we can honor his final wish and live out our lives in the peace and safety for which he gave his life.
I see.
Bailey took a thorough look around her and several long breaths.
I know what I choose.
I feared you might. Is there any chance I might change your mind?
Unlikely.
Long life and peaceful death are no small things.
I'm not exactly young. And I doubt dying's much fun no matter how you do it.
Then let me just say this. I know Bryce loved you very much. Your safety and comfort were his dying wish. Soldiers die violently so that others may live peacefully. I heard him say that 1,000 times. And though he meant it to be understood generally, I know he was thinking of you when in need of courage. So I need to try to keep you safe. That's the debt I owe the departed.
Well, I've heard you. I'll be sure to vouch for you when next we see Bryce.
Maeve.
Roy, look around me. Do you see any children? Do you see the trappings of wealth?
I see a profitable inn, which is nothing to flippantly discard.
My sister gave me this place. Bryce gave me nothing I can hold. For 30 years I gave that man all of my love. And for better or worse, I think he loved me as best he could.
I know he did.
But all I've got to show for it is the memory of him. And all his fullness and foibles and causes. Without that, I'm just a lonely old maid who wasted her life on a bonny young soldier with a pretty voice who told her pretty things and never planned to marry her. Can you understand that?
Yes.
And so I can't just traipse off into the sunset like nothing happened and Bryce just passed away from old age. So, once more, what now?
Well, Bryce, I tried. If I'm being honest, I was of two minds when I came here, and one of them is glad to hear you say that. If we're to uncover what we're up against, your sisters could be us a great boon.
What should I ask them to do?
For now, keep their ears open. I suspect the elves may shift their attention to unusual places. I would know what they begin asking and of whom. Let me know all you hear, but do keep your head down.
My family's great skill.
Not all rebels need be martyrs.
I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner. My mind must have been on... Well, anyhow, Relocate was here not a few nights ago.
She was?
Up and carted away one of my barmaids. And her sister. Well, they said they were sisters. She never came back either after that. Wait, come to think of it, Bryce brought me those barmaids. Told me they needed jobs and asked me not to ask questions. Bryce, what were you playing at?
Strange. Did you catch anything that Relocate had to say to them?
Well, she was hunting for orcs and Templars, and she also asked after the missing Lady Arlene Redmore, or I think she said it was Mooncrest now, but with my barmaid she was most concerned with a missing child. I suppose, looking back, it's odd that an elf of her rank would concern herself with that.
Indeed.
Anyhow, this barmaid had taken in a stranded babe after the battle, and Relocate believed it was the same one as had gone missing.
Your erstwhile barmaids, was one of them tall and slender, with copper skin and black hair?
She was. That's why I thought it was odd her sister was pale and plump with red hair, but at the time I reckoned parents take in other children often enough.
She was at Freehold. She came to talk to Bryce when Brennan of Greyfield was in to see him.
Curiouser and curiouser.
This gives us somewhere to start.
And some good, clear questions to ask my sisters, starting with what Lady Arlene Redmore looked like. I'd not be shocked to learn she's pale and plump with red hair.
Good. I'll return to Freehold. The garrison's been tasked with aiding the elves in their so-called investigation. I'll do my best to direct it in our favor. My men have much love and trust for Relocate, but I pray unearthing the right information may shake their loyalty. And let's meet again when we can.
A fortnight from today?
I prefer sooner. Rhea is not like to leave loose threads hanging for very long.
If we meet any sooner, I'm not sure what I'll have learned from my sisters.
Well, let's meet anyway, before week's end. Each just to see how the other is doing.
Very well.
And this should go without saying. If I miss our meeting, run.
All right. Well, here's this.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
It had been 3 days since our party had come ashore in a desolate cove near Armstrongard, and they had spent that time hopping between the handful of inns, saloons, and public houses where Regan still commanded enough favour or fear to be courted covertly. Unfortunately, although he was a hearty young elf, cheese barrels, pirate vessels, and musty back rooms had hardly done wonders for the wound in Yellowin's arm.
Is it helping, at least?
The spot where Relotate's arrow had pierced him was now ringed with a hot and angry red.
I've no doubt you'd be worse off without the brandy, but...
Nia's eyes seemed to Yellowin to be an apology.
The illness is spreading.
I'm afraid so. It's still within the realm of treatable, I believe, for now. But I'd need to leave here and get proper medicine.
So we're to, petition the throne, then?
I've found, Yellowin, that there is a certain joy in abdication to a mighty leader who has one's best interests in mind.
I look forward to experiencing that.
Hey, no offense to Regan, she's dope. But isn't all that abdication stuff kind of how we got here?
Fret not for now. I shall speak with Her Majesty when next she...
Fuck, I'm bored. I'm so fucking bored. We've done absolute deck for 3 straight days. Does anyone in this world ever have fun?
Yes, though it does typically require leaving one's chambers.
Not necessarily. Never mind.
Gwen saw Arlene's face turn Redmore crimson and had to suppress a giggle.
We could play the game again, I guess.
Who's in? Weenie? Gwen? Who's dealing? Me, I guess.
I should note that at that moment, an idea began to form in Jen's head. She recalled another time they played this very game, what felt like ages ago, with some inebriated Armstrong Guard students.
Okay, what to have for dinner? Go!
Billy drew a card from the deck, a knave, and waited expectantly.
Let's see. There used to be a man with a cart around the corner from here who made some very tasty garbage.
Sorry?
It was always a treat when they served pheasant garbage at Castle Gwenedhall.
I remember that garbage. I'd always send Gwen down for seconds.
Aye, Billy, that's your card.
Billy's eyes narrowed and darted back and forth between his various compatriots.
Yes. A fitting answer. In the White Forest, we prepare our garbage using a rare flightless bird found only within our wood. I've grown to miss that garbage.
What the hell? Do I have a 2, or do you all like eating garbage?
I'm guessing it means something different here.
In case you're unfamiliar, as the Pennsylvanians were, garbage is a beef and poultry stew.
Yeah, shockingly, this game kind of falls apart if you don't share enough cultural touchstones.
Jackie, give me a whole lot of something strong. I'll take it in my room.
Your friends are already working on a battle.
Sounds like good news. Welcome back, Your Grace. Any
I
luck
fucking
with...
had it with the yellow sons of whores in this pisshole town. That's the 10th sellsword company in 3 days. Ooh, we are big. We are tough. Our cocks blot out the sun. But oh no, we don't mess with elves. Our mommy said they're scary. Fuck!
Your Grace, perhaps my presence may help create the image you need to persuade them.
You? You look like your name should be Grandpa and not a cop. Not exactly the image we're going for. All right, y'all know the drill. Pack up your shit. We're out of here before sundown.
Billy and Yellowin shared a brief look of astonishment at things they suddenly had in common.
I don't want to hear it.
Your Grace, I regret to inform you that Yellowin's wound is not improving.
Oh, goddamn it, always fucking something.
He needs proper medicine.
Regan rubbed her temples as her nostrils flared.
Your Grace, I recall when my arm was likewise wounded. You told me, that's my arm, and I'm going to need it.
Where would you need to go?
Well,
Actually, I've been thinking. They must have what you need at the college, right?
Yes, but...
Out of the fucking question. The one place in this city where somebody's sure to know you by name.
Which is why I wasn't...
But they won't know us. And we wanted to make a quick detour around the school anyway.
We did?
We didn't get to see much our first time there.
This isn't a fucking... We're fugitives.
But no one knows us.
You mean apart from Relotate, who's got the whole city crawling with patrols?
There is no way her patrols each know us by sight.
This is a treacherous city for anyone. Even those on the right side of the law run no small risk of getting lost or robbed.
Hey, you could draw us a map then. Tell us where the infirmary is and maybe the library.
Ah, I see.
What am I in the dark about here?
Admittedly, I have committed to helping our young companions retrieve some materials from the college's library. Of course, that was before I know they are clever enough to understand the frailty of our current situation.
Yeah, we do. That's why we're so gung-ho about this.
When's the next time we're going to be close to a library?
Close to the library, to literally the one library that seems to exist on this entire continent.
Look, all we need is a few books, just so we'll know a little more. And we can get the medicine while we're there. 2 birds, 1 stone.
I want to be clear that me even asking this is an attempt to be, what was it? Magnanimous? Okay? These books, they the kind someone can run in, grab, and run out?
Honestly, I'm afraid not. If the books they seek even exist, which I cannot guarantee, they will be extremely rare and therefore carefully guarded.
Narc.
But I must also say that were we to find these books, it would go a long way towards putting their minds at ease. And mine.
I'm gonna try this one more time. None of our minds should be at ease. We're in a fucked up spot here. Decisions we make in the next couple days are life or death for everyone in this room. Simple as that. We're getting Yellowin medicine so he doesn't fucking die. And all I want to know is if someone's got an idea how to do it that isn't dumb as shit.
May I say one thing first?
Magnanimous Maggie. What?
If we should only take risks to avoid death, then why did we not keep our heads down and our mouths shut when you returned from that forest?
Nia, I appreciate your wise counsel. Now shut the fuck up. Okay, ideas for medicine. Not dumb as shit. Go.
I was originally going to say that I've an acquaintance from school. Last I heard, he's running a charitable apothecary out of his parish.
How far?
No more than an hour's walk. And I'd like your permission to take some money as well.
I thought you said it was charitable.
It is. For the needy.
Well, guess what, Nia? Right now, we're the fucking needy.
Is it wise, in your experience, to seek a favor from a reliable contact and come empty-handed?
Here's how this is gonna go. You wear a disguise. You stay off the big streets. You see an elf patrol? You duck down an alley or bend down to pick a copper off the street or something. You know how to spot or lose a tail?
Well,
that's a no. I'll give you a place to go back to. It'll be different from where we're staying, but I'll come and check on you. If you're clean, I'll bring you back to us. If not, cross that bridge when we come to it. Got all that?
Yes, I think so.
Repeat it back to me.
Wear a disguise, no big roads, avoid elves. I'll go where you say, and you'll meet me when it's safe.
Good. You go exactly where you have to. No additional stops.
I can help with the disguise.
Fine.
Billy? Nelson?
What?
Need your help too?
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
And as Regan's court disbanded, she marked this last interaction well. But thus did Nia and the three Pennsylvanians regroup in another room to assemble Nia's disguise. Their first attempted solution was to simply swap Nia's clerical frock for Nelson's nondescript tunic. The result was, well, not entirely convincing.
Worked for Shakespeare's heroines. Who?
I'm not sure that suspended disbelief works in real life.
Last I checked, we've been living in an alternate universe for what? Like a month now?
Point taken.
It has to work. What else are we...
Jen interrupted Billy with a disparaging look. Vernacularly, one might say she ice-grilled him.
Thanks, Billy. That's soothing.
Nia futzed, as I've heard mortals say, with her borrowed digs, as they also say.
It is a bit snug.
They call it form-fitting where we're from.
I'm a little frightened to breathe, if truth be told.
Jen sized Nia up in the mirror.
Yeah. Okay, try Billy's clothes.
Wait, what am I gonna wear?
We'll switch. Nelson, give him my frock and cloak.
Okay, I guess?
It's pretty unisex.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this magical realm with, like, it, who cares?
This one's a little too big.
Nothing a little belting and blousing can't fix. Things you learn when it's homecoming week, but Mom can only afford the clearance rack. And here, stuff your hair in this hat.
Jen's powers apparently extended beyond atmospheric anomalies to, I believe it's called styling in the human realm.
There we go. Solid Cesario vibe. No, Ganymede.
Who? I'd say Eowyn.
Is that the I am no man lady?
Yeah! You knew that?
Everyone saw those movies, Nelson. We just didn't make them into a lifestyle choice.
Ooh, fair enough.
Nia's is kind of tight on me.
I think it's fashion forward. And the arms and pecs? A+, babe.
Okay.
Nia, I think you're in good shape. Oh, you know what would top it off?
Jen reached for Nelson's glasses, and he leaned away from her grasp.
Sorry, no. I need these.
Okay, this'll have to do then.
Right.
Hey, before you go, what did you think about what Regan said?
Her assessment of the risks is not wrong, but only the three of you are in a place to evaluate the risks of not getting those books, and I believe you are mature enough to decide for yourselves.
Bitchin'.
Sure.
I mean...
I cannot say I endorse this endeavor, but I shall draw you a map of the college and library and give you what information I can. I'll have to go quickly, though, lest Her Majesty grow suspicious, so pay attention.
Ardell Redmore had mustered 20 armed men outside the eastern storehouse of the castle named after Guernatal. Standing in a ring around them were no small number of the common folk about the keep.
Now then, we shall soon reveal once and for all that this so-called phantom is a foreign saboteur who is very mortal indeed. And I trust, once I've flayed him and strung him up from the ramparts, you will all return to your duties. Captain?
My liege.
Set to, your task.
The unfortunate officer looked at his 2 nearest men and nervously jerked his head towards the storehouse. As they reached its doorway, the 2 guards shared an uneasy look.
Oh, what's going on? What happened? Is that normal? Did we win?
Oh, ghost! Magic! Someone kill him!
The crowd looked on in stunned silence as a small stream of blood began to pool on the dusty ground just outside the storehouse doors.
Is that... did you kill the saboteur? Get in there, all of you! Charge!
Charge! Oh, shit. Retreat!
The last thing the point men saw were 6 barrels of spirits barreling towards them from an upper rafter. What few survivors managed to crawl back out from that treacherous storehouse were bloodied and shot through with thick, jagged splinters.
Captain! Captain! Call for more men!
My lord.
Lock the doors and burn this storehouse to the ground.
But, my lord, the food.
Selberin, take the food! I want the saboteur killed! Burn it, I said! I'm ordering you to burn it!
The captain of Ardell's guard looked up through a haze of pain and exsanguination at the gathered faces in the crowd. He saw people whom, but a few moons ago, before he threw in his lot with Ardell's mutiny, he had called his neighbors and sworn to serve.
No.
I'll hang you for this.
You're welcome to try.
Gods blast it all! Someone fetch me a torch!
Only now, as their jeers grew louder, did Ardell remember the crowd and turned to see their number. He turned back to look at the guards he had brought with him today, all dead or rapidly dying, and in the cold pit of his guts, where a better man might have earlier felt concern or compassion for those men who served him, Ardell nevertheless felt their loss very keenly now.
Return to your homes. Food is sparse and there's work to be done.
Lo, and hark, you gathered here.
What?
In that moment, it did not take much for the voice from the storehouse to capture the crowd's complete attention.
Excuse me?
I am vengeance turned to flesh.
Who are you?
Food's not sparse, but justice is. Ardell's a blight upon this land.
Where is that coming from?
I've no quarrel with those who reject him. Forsake the usurper and eat well.
And as Ardell looked into the eyes of his gathered subjects, he saw only rage looking back. He took a nervous step backwards. And in that moment, though naught but human forces were at work, you'd be forgiven for thinking some spell had been broken. And all at once, the crowd darted for the storehouse. Not a one of them cast so much as a glance towards their presumptive sovereign. And for his part, Ardell, flushed with humiliation and sweating with fear, scurried off the other way. Nia ventured forth, head down through the streets of Armstrongard to her friend's monastery. Along the way, she recalled the counsel given her by Jen and Nelson.
Walk and talk like Billy.
Yeah, zero class, grace, or manners.
Hey, what the fuck?
I'm JK, bro. You come a long way.
Totes. We're all works in progress.
Which she adhered to with, well, judge her aptitude for yourself.
Watch where you're going, kid.
Oh, pardon me. Oi, quit hogging the road, yeah?
She scurried away quickly after this outburst, probably for the best, considering that this particular passerby had Sir Brennan's physical bearing, but did not appear to have the warmth, loyalty, and compassion that she'd come to know of her friend. No sooner than she dodged that proverbial bolt, she noticed assorted elves roaming the street, asking questions.
Pollux.
Nia was apparently emboldened by her costume. Besides this uncharacteristic verbiage, she was surprised by her own deftness as she weaved through the street, and when she spotted another elf patrol asking questions of the nearby townsfolk,
"The thief queen, Irana Regan. Have you seen her?"
she hastily turned to the nearest street vendor.
Garbage here, hot and fresh. Get your hot steaming garbage right here.
How much?
2 copper.
We hear she's back in town. If you hear of anything, the White Forest is prepared to be very generous.
Maybe tomorrow.
And when the elves had passed, she nodded farewell to the street vendor, then dipped into the front of a saloon, only to exit through the rear a moment later, until finally she arrived at the parish she sought. Nia sighed with relief upon entering Frederick's quarters and peered out the window before being startled by the man himself, who approached from behind her.
May I help you, young sir?
Jen's wardrobing prowess might indeed have been magic, as Nia's longtime friend did not readily recognize her, at least not until she lifted her head and removed the hat to reveal her hair.
Nia?
Frederick!
It's great to see you. And a surprise. You're dressed. Have you gotten wise and chosen a more lucrative profession than mine?
No, I'm no richer, and only marginally wiser than I was when last we spoke.
Margin plus a mile wiser than me, then. I must hear all about your life. It's been ages. How's my alma mater treating you?
I'm sorry, Frederick. There's so much I'd love to talk with you about, truly, but I'm afraid I'm in need of a somewhat urgent favor.
Are you all right?
It's my friend. He needs medicine for a putrid wound.
Oh. Is the college not?
Oh, you know how it is at the college. Wrangle up 3 faculty seals on 1 requisition letter. Wait a week, make corrections. This is easier. And as I said, I need it urgently if my friend is to keep his arm.
Galadon's mercy, keep his arm? Yes, of course, follow me. Are you sure all is well with you?
Yes.
You're certain?
You seem quite concerned with how I've led my life since graduating. You could have reached out any time.
No, that's fair. Forgive me. I didn't mean to pry. It's just the coincidence is almost alarming.
Coincidence?
Well, that you arrive here after so long on the same day that a message came from your parents via Manustery.
Pardon, what?
Yes, they're looking for you, asking everyone where you were last seen.
Do you still have the message? Can I see it?
Yes, I believe so. Just a moment. Here you are.
It's probably just my mother being dramatic. I've told you how she can be.
Dearest Nia, I haven't heard from you in some time. Tried reaching you at the college, but they said you've not been seen in weeks. Your poor pa and I are worried about you. Sure, you're busy, but pray let us know you're well. And pray let us know where to reach you. You're still our dearest. Be the weather foul or fair. Love, Mum.
And as she read these words, Nia felt a tumult in the pit of her stomach, and a cold sweat on the back of her neck.
Be the weather foul or fair.
For now she was certain that her parents were in danger. When last we parted, Nia had just read a note from her parents ostensibly requesting her whereabouts.
Here's your medicine, by the way. Nia.
I'm sorry?
The medicine.
Medicine?
For your friend's arm.
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you.
Again, not to pry, but I do hope all is well with your parents.
Oh, you know, my mother and her dramatics. Looks like she roped my father in as well this time.
Nia paced back and forth, ruminating over the note, while trying to maintain the cool ruse.
Nia, what's going on?
Oh, nothing. Nothing serious.
Friar Johansson followed Nia's lead in pretending not to be as alarmed as he felt he should be.
I take it it's been a while since they saw you last?
That's it, yes. Or heard.
She wandered around the room to avoid eye contact.
Well, such things happen. They'll be relieved to know that you're safe here. You can sit at my desk to write your response if you want. I can send it for you afterward, not that you couldn't do it yourself.
I'd appreciate that.
And your medicine.
Yes, thank you.
I'll leave you some privacy.
But it took Nia a few moments of nervous fidgeting to decide her course.
Frederick?
All done?
Are you still in touch with your friend Romulo?
Why, yes. We write each other letters every few months. Why do you ask?
Does he still have his post up north, in Mooncrest lands?
Yes.
And is he trustworthy?
You know, I claim no right to know your business, but I do claim a right to not be treated like a fool. And even a fool could see all is not right with you.
Very well. You are a smart man, and I am a poor liar, so I will say this. I do believe there is some trouble at home, and I do believe you can help.
Well, just tell me what I can do.
But I need you to believe me that I know what I am doing, that I know exactly what help I need, and that the less you know about this, the better it is for everyone.
Does this have anything to do with the elves? I've seen them all around asking...
Frederick, can you believe me or not?
Yes, Nia, of course I can believe you. It's just that you put me in a very awkward position.
I know, and I'm sorry for that. I would not ask it if I had better options at hand.
Can I at least ask what I must do before I promise it?
I need you to take this letter and send it in a sealed package to Romulo. Ask him to send my letter back to my parents in Seahold, addressed from up where he is. And I also need your word that neither of you will break the seal and read it.
I don't know, Nia. If something were to happen, I would feel responsible.
No, you will have done a friend a great kindness, exactly as she asked. The consequences are my responsibility.
That's not what the scripture says about responsibility.
And what does the scripture say about kindness and charity asking questions?
I've never had a reason to doubt you before.
Frederick peered into her eyes, searching for reassurance that this instance was no exception, that this unusual request was, indeed, justified and necessary for reasons that she could not disclose at that time. Despite lingering consternation, he conceded.
So be it. I will send the letter to Romulo with your instructions. You have my word not to break the seal, and I will implore him to do the same.
Thank you, Frederick. Truly.
But at the right time, you have to explain.
I will, as soon as I can. You have my word on that.
Very well.
You may receive a response through Ministry. I would know that response.
Can you tell me where you're staying?
I'm afraid not. Do you remember the green down by Miller's Point with the big...
The big silver bird. Yes, of course.
If you hear anything, leave a ribbon on that tree. Then I'll come back here. I must be going now.
Do take care of yourself, Nia.
And you as well.
Nia hugged Frederick, and he responded in kind. Their eyes locked as they unfastened from one another, and she kissed him on the cheek.
It really was nice to see you. Sorry I got cross.
Don't mention it.
While Nia was rekindling old friendships, the Pennsylvanians were settling into the next public house that Regan had moved them to.
Okay, I think we're clear.
But with Regan gone to retrieve Nia from her sortie, they took the opportunity to discuss the map which Nia had left for them.
So, 30 minutes to the college gates. Once we're inside, another 10 to the library.
So say an hour and... Billy, do you need to sing right now? We're trying to be sneaky here.
Sorry.
No, actually, it makes it sound more badass. Like we're doing a heist.
It's not really a heist. It's a library. The books are technically free. This is a caper at best.
Ew, you mean like that gross salty pea thing?
Whatever it is, can Billy sing? It actually makes me feel cool.
Fine.
Right on, dude. I got you.
Just, you'll be quieter when we actually do this, right? So, say an hour and a half for travel, just to be safe.
Which means even if we find what we need in half an hour, unlikely, Nia said, we'll still need 2 hours when we know Regan will be away.
Ideally more. That's why I've been keeping track of her meetings, or doing my best with hourglasses and sundials and pre-industrial clocks. She's had 10 meetings. The shortest was 45 minutes. The longest was 2.5 hours. The median is somewhere around an hour 45. But definitely the best predictor of the longer meetings is if Regan told me she went way back with someone.
If they fucked.
Well, maybe. I definitely got that vibe on the longest of the meetings. So next time she leaves for a meeting, we'll see how much she's willing to tell us. Probably far too much.
Let's go over the plan again.
Nia had proceeded as promptly as possible to the meeting spot Regan had given her. As instructed, she'd purchased some garbage from a vendor so she'd have a plausible reason to sit still for a while. She'd also been instructed to eat slowly. But between the news she'd just received and keeping her head on a swivel for elvish patrols, the queasy feeling in her guts made slow eating quite natural. And so she nearly jumped out of her seat when a small but powerful hand grabbed her arm from behind.
Come on, sweetheart. Let's go home.
It was early next morning when Nia heard a very quiet knock on her door. In fact, had she been sleeping deeply, she might not have heard it at all. But as it happened, her night had been most restless.
Yes?
Hey.
Jen, good morning. Is everything all right?
Yeah, we're pretty sure Regan's gonna be gone for a little bit, so if you got anything to take care of outside?
I appreciate it. And what of Sir Brennan?
We're gonna lock our door from the inside and go out the window. If he asks, say we wanted to sleep in.
You know I'm loath to lie to him.
Yeah. I guess try and be gone before he gets up.
Be safe.
Always. Regan is confirmed taking a bath, so when she leaves, this is our best shot to grab those books. You ready to learn something, I guess?
A few minutes later, when Regan did leave, the heist was...
Caper.
The caper was on? That doesn't scan right. Whatever, the shit popped off. Nia gave us 2 books to look for. The first was a gimme.
You remember the name of the book, babe?
An introductory treatise on the...
Treatise.
Right. Treatise on the Loss of Home by Elric of Summerhold.
In the public section. Just ask the archivist.
That's gonna be the librarian-looking lady.
Probably. They should be easy to find, and you remember about the bibliography.
Elric's bloated, self-aggrandizing prose is nigh unreadable, but his citations are impeccable. Would that you had time to comb the library for each of his sources, but under the circumstances...
Grab the first entry for each chapter.
Exactly, and don't forget the reference book.
I won't.
But the second book? That was the trick.
On the Totemic Traditions of Primitive Jordan by Is that...
Fulladick the Elder.
Good one, Nia. Wait, that's really his name?
Currently in the private collection of Professor Blulaball.
Oh, come on!
So anyone can read it, but they can't leave with it.
And we needed to leave with it.
Fortunately, Billy had a plan to get us started. And I gotta say, it wasn't bad.
Sorry, I was in the zone. Hey.
Good afternoon.
My, patron sent me here to find a treat. An introductory treatise on the loss of home by Elric of Summerhold. Could you show me where to find it?
Oh, why yes, right this way. We've just had a new edition come in with an expanded bibliography. Here we are.
Sweet, thanks.
Is there anything else?
Yeah, maybe actually. Where can I find this one?
Ah, yes. Well, you see, the title is On the Early History of Elven Shipmaking, so it would be in the history section.
Cool. So, like, where in the history section?
Within each section, they're organized by author.
Right, yeah, no, totally. So that would be...
Do you see right next to the title where it says Snorley the Lesser?
Word. Gotcha.
Is there anything else I...
So is that gonna be under Snorley or the Lesser?
Let me just show you. It's right here.
Sick.
Will that be all, sir?
Do you have Elven agriculture prior to the first Concordat? It says the author's name is Var.
Various?
Boss name. Is that Varius the Elder or the Lesser? Or was there just the one?
Hilda!
Yes? What's wrong?
It's time for my break. Can you help this young man?
Planning a big score means knowing the strengths of your team. And this plan really played to Billy's strengths.
Right, like being an undue burden on the women around me. So do you have like a cart or something? I need a lot of books.
So, while the library administrative staff was otherwise occupied, or forced into the break room in desperation, Jin and I went after the tougher prize.
At the entrance to the wing containing the private collections, there is usually a doctoral candidate being paid a pittance by the college.
So a grad student on work study, I got it.
So, was the art department garbage any good?
We saw the kid at the desk take the bait immediately. I mean, it's whatever, but you know, free food, am I right?
Hey, I have to leave. If you go in there, can you just sign this book? Thank you kindly.
Score.
What?
Nothing. But the next part would be something else.
We got lucky twice. First, the shadows of the two elf guards tipped us off to them before we rounded the corner. And second, I spotted the window at the other end of the hall.
When we ducked behind the big bookshelf, I could tell Jen had an idea. The next part, man, I never got tired of seeing her do this stuff.
Go check on that, will you?
When he came around the corner, I just gave it one more little push.
Blast it all! Can you help?
I'm coming! Close the damn window!
I am! Catch that damn scroll!
And just like that, we were in.
But we still needed to find the book, and we knew we didn't have much time. Fortunately,
They're all in order. Talismans of Dominion and their origins, in the time of chieftains.
on the totemic traditions of primitive Jordan. This is it!
That's great, grab it.
Wait, we should check for traps.
Do you know how to do that?
I do not.
Fuck it. Hey, what's that?
You mean the pedestal behind the glass?
Looks janky, but it was probably worth something once.
Probably worth something. Definitely hella trapped.
Bringing in some green could buy us a lot of goodwill with Regan.
That went pretty well, actually.
Yeah, I can't believe the Indiana Jones thing worked in real life.
You keep looking over your shoulder. Is someone following us?
No, I just keep waiting for the boulder.
And thus did the 3 Pennsylvanians walk straight out of the gates of the College of Armstrongard, carting a dozen common books, 1 rare book, and 1 exceedingly tarnished bronze statue. Now, as the Pennsylvanians were carrying out this vaguely illicit venture that was somewhere between a caper and a heist, depending on whom you asked, Nia was venturing an excursion of her own. On Jen's advice, she had used Regan's absence to make for the public square upon which she and Frederick had agreed, and she stopped in her tracks when she saw the ribbon tied around the limb of a venerable birch tree. She looked up at the sun, hoping to estimate how long she'd been gone, and then, realizing that she could not do otherwise whatever the time, she hurried off in the direction of Friar Frederick's.
Oh, did you get the reference book?
Yeah, sorta.
Okay.
I got an encyclopedia.
Well, that could work. Can I see? Dweezil's Encyclopedia of Oddities, Maladies, and Plagues.
It was the only encyclopedia I could find. Okay, it was the first encyclopedia I found, and I wanted to look at the pictures.
Billy.
But check the page I marked.
Gross.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. But look.
No way. It says this drawing of some guy's giant pustule is to scale. And there's a ruler on the side of the page.
Yeah, and look here.
Where? Oh, it compares the density of this tumor to water and lead.
Yeah, I didn't remember exactly how to do density, but I think it has something to do with weight.
No, this is perfect. This is exactly what I need to make sense of their units of measurement. You did great, honey.
Thanks.
That thing you said about being a burden, it's not true.
It is a little bit.
You did great today. We couldn't have done that without you. And I love you.
Check out the last page.
Okay. Oh. What am I looking for?
Nothing. It's just a dude with huge balls. I thought it was funny.
Okay, we are going to talk about how you think about illness and difference, but still, progress is progress.
And we are going to talk about whose ears don't work and who's about to have no balls.
Oh, shit.
Inside. Now.
Dear ones, I must now set down the tapestry I've heretofore been weaving for just a moment, so that I may introduce one more thread. I know, runs the risk of getting a bit busy, but the importance of this thread for bringing the broader picture into relief cannot be overstated. So come with me, out west, far west, past rebuilt Freehold, past ruined Blackhold and ravaged Silberg, past even Jethro's remote cabin and its terrible cellar, over the god-made walls of that primordial fortress you call the Black Mountains, down the foothills where the downtrodden many pull precious stones from the living rock for the benefit of the privileged few. Until finally we arrive at a town on the plains. The inhabitants of this town would be called Urkiet by the elves, that is to say orcs in the common tongue of the eastern realms, but they called each other, well, by their names. Allow me to introduce you to a woman of not quite 16 years, whose parents called her First Snow. We join her now at dawn, with an empty bucket over each shoulder as she sets to the day's chores.
Good morning, Auntie.
But she was not the first to have done so today.
Morning, girl. Slept in today, I see.
If sleeps through the feast would mend the well like I asked him, then I wouldn't need to drag these buckets all over creation.
You shouldn't speak so cruelly. Roan Dog is a sweet boy.
Come to think of it, why am I up so early doing this? He should be carrying the buckets.
He's hardly seen 13. He needs his rest.
We all need rest, Auntie. I'm not much older than him, and I'm doing the work of 3 grown women, instead of...
Chasing boys? Matron knows I did at your age.
Auntie.
You chase boys, all right. They see you coming, they all run and hide so you won't ask them to do more chores.
Someone has to. It's not my fault all the strongest folks went off to join that daft, pointless war. I spoke against it, if you remember.
Standing up for yourself is never
girl
pointless.
then, and no one listens to a 15-year-old girl now.
I'm listening to you, girl. I always listen to you. But everyone's working as hard as they can.
It's not enough. The days draw shorter and more chores go undone.
Oh, I know it. I've seen many more winters than you. But does the lamed horse go any faster if you beat him?
No. But neither does he heal once he's starving and cold, which we will be if we don't prepare more.
Oh, your parents named you well, First Snow. You are inevitable. Try not to be chilly as well.
Pleasant talking as always, Auntie. Send my love to... Oh, Twister, take me. I told Uncle I'd help him mend the pasture fence first thing today. Oh, I'm such a fool. There's too much work to...
Do it later.
What?
Do it later.
He won't be insulted?
He won't know. He's left again.
Oh.
Matron only knows where he runs off to. He was never like this when he was young. I'll never understand why he waited for 60 to start sowing oats.
Well, he always comes back with something more than he left with and gives it to the town. So at least we know he's not drinking, gambling, or wenching. You should have faith in him.
When you've been married to someone for 40-some years, you shouldn't need faith. You should feel like you know them. But you don't need to know about the worries of old folks. Go see to your chores and I'll...
First Snow, they need you at the listening post.
All right, I'm coming. Bring the water back into town, will you? Or better yet, vent the blasted well.
Now, the listening post was a small structure on the opposite end of town from the creek, much to First Snow's dismay. Mounted on each corner of its roof was a pole, and running from each pole was a web of woven copper cords. Each of these cords was run between a series of stakes spaced 100 yards or so apart. These stakes traced the shortest land routes between this town and every town with which it had amicable relations, which was quite a few indeed. Building all of these was a staggering feat, undertaken in bygone days, when time and able-bodied workers were more plentiful. But its ongoing utility will be apparent imminently. Inside the structure was a wall full of bells, each connected to a wire, and beside a placard that named a town. One of these bells, the biggest one in fact, was ringing. Its placard read, Federation House.
What is it?
The Federation.
Did you take down the message?
Yes, of course.
First Snow went to the wall of bells and took a small copper strand from next to the ringing bell between her fingers. She concentrated deeply, and for just a moment, the world around her seemed to shift.
Have that message?
Here. What do they say?
Everyone's hurting from this blasted war. The Federation needs more corn to feed the old and sick.
More corn? I've been to the granary. We'll be lucky as is to feed ourselves for the winter.
I must speak with grandmother.
And so First Snow traversed her town once again. But she found that Steady River the Elder, whom the whole town regarded as a grandmother but whom First Snow felt lucky to regard as an aunt, was no longer beside the creek. So First Snow made for the mill.
Auntie! Auntie!
Hey, catch your breath, girl!
Bad news.
Now hang on. before you tell me the bad news, tell me one thing to be glad about.
Auntie.
You know my rule. You've already griped to me once today. Now tell me something you're glad about before you gripe again.
I guess the mill's not broken yet.
See, not so hard. And I'll even give you one for free. Daffodil's still a good, sweet girl. Ain't you, girl? However your cousins feel about doing chores, Daffodil never minds to turn this mill. Near to 14 years, no signs of slowing down.
Yes, fine. Thank you for all your hard work, Daffodil.
Now what's your news?
The Federation needs more corn this year to feed the old and sick.
We've not much corn to spare.
Yes, Granny, that's what I've been saying.
And what do you think we should do?
When your choice is between the difficult and the unlivable, you must choose the difficult. Any food that we kept from the old and sick would turn to ash in our mouths anyway. We must find a way to send more corn.
Good. So, now that you know what is not negotiable, how should we walk the difficult path?
Well, we could use the last of the emergency stores, but that would leave us in grave danger should next year's harvest be meager. I would say we could ask the Federation to return the favor next year, if it came to that. But if our crop fails, there's no guarantee the other towns will fare better.
Anywhere else to get more corn for next year, then?
The eastern fields. They're supposed to lie fallow for another 2 years, but we could sow corn a year early without doing too much damage. In any case, it's a more tolerable risk than having no extra stores at all.
I agree.
We'd have to aerate it now before the frost comes, but maybe a new project and the cause behind it will breathe some new energy into the town's work.
A grin had begun to tug at First Snow's face for the first time this day as her mentor looked on with pride.
See? That's another thing to be glad about. You've earned yourself a gripe at supper.
First Snow smiled, despite herself.
Now take one or two of the older boys out with you to inspect the field. Make sure all is in order. Then I'll call a meeting tomorrow, and you can propose your plan.
And so did First Snow make her way east to the fields in which nothing was planted last year.
Is it close?
Yes.
My feet hurt.
I'm sorry.
You can take a rest if you want, little man. We'll catch back up with you later.
On this journey, she had conscripted her younger brother and a slightly older but much larger friend. Thus, as was typical, she had taken an appreciable portion of her elderly mentor's advice.
Oh, don't coddle him. His feet don't really hurt. He just wants attention.
So he's just gonna tag along the whole time, then?
Grandmother said take 2 boys along. You wouldn't have me disobey your town elder, would you?
So when you said take a walk and inspect the fallow fields, you actually meant that.
Gross.
Mind your own business, second born. But also, yes, don't flatter yourself, Capelboy.
See, she does think you're gross.
How about I fallow your fields, runt?
Will both of you be...
As the trio pushed their way through to the open field, they were met with a half-dozen crossbows trained on them at point blank.
Now, just where in Selberin do y'all think y'all going?
The men wielding them looked to be humans of Eastern descent. They were dusty and sunburnt, and their armor was rough-spun and piecemeal, but their meticulously crafted repeating crossbows were of obvious elven design.
Answer me. Why y'all here?
Maybe they ain't speak common.
One of the men lowered his weapon and addressed Capelboy, who tensed up.
Howdy. Me, John. Who? You. Why here?
I speak some Eastern tongue.
The armed men now turned their attention away from Capelboy and towards First Snow.
Good. Then you know what I'm asking you.
Yes. We came out to inspect the fields. We're unarmed and have no fight with you. Though I might just as well ask what you are doing here.
Ha!
First Snow's 2 companions could not understand what was being said, and thus did not know the reason for or intention behind this man's laughter. They looked at each other uneasily.
We're doing our job. Now tell me, little miss, do you know the word trespassing?
No.
Well, it means walking someplace you ain't supposed to. And y'all are doing it. This here field is the property of my boss. And I'm allowed by law to use deadly force to protect it from trespassers. Now, y'all seem peaceable enough, so I don't want to do that. But I am going to have to ask you to turn back around.
Who is your boss? This cannot be their property.
He's got a charter from the White Forest and everything. Else I wouldn't have taken this job.
May I speak with him?
I don't think so. He's very busy.
I won't leave until I speak with him.
Now, can't we just have a nice quiet afternoon?
Yes, after I speak to your boss.
The armed man sighed and rubbed his temples.
I can just go ask him, Jack. I reckon he's expecting this sooner or later. Maybe he wants to get out in front of it before it turns into a whole thing.
Can you negotiate on behalf of your people?
First Snow looked at him quizzically.
Make agreements, I mean. Will your people stick to agreements you make?
They don't have to, but they trust me to pass messages.
All right, fine. Go ask him. Now, if he agrees to talk to you, I'm gonna have to search you all for weapons, all right?
I said we were unarmed.
I heard you. Make sure that big fella understands what's going on here. I don't want him getting the wrong idea. You hear?
I give you my word.
Uh-huh. Hands up over your head.
A few hundred yards from where First Snow and her retinue were detained, there stood the nascent wooden skeleton of what sought to be a large house. Around the perimeter of this structure was a raised wooden platform on which perched an elf. He was in his early middle age and draped in fine beige silks that were the height of fashion at the time. At the moment, he was rocking gently back and forth in a wooden chair as he swilled an aromatic brown liquid. This is the state we find him in, as First Snow and her comrades are brought before him under armed guard.
This is them, I presume?
Yes, sir, Mr. Jiff. Walked right up like they own the place. That's close enough.
Your man here says one of them speaks passable common.
Yes, sir. That one there.
Cautiously, but not timidly, First Snow took a step forward.
Hello. Pleased to meet you.
Hello indeed. What do you call yourself, girl?
For now, call me neighbor.
Yes, well. My name is Timaslo Jiff, and this is my farm.
With respect, I'm afraid you're mistaken. This is our farm. Our village has sown here as far back as there are stories.
Perhaps. However, you have not sown these fields in the last 2 years.
Yes, they're meant to lie fallow.
Therefore, they are fair to claim, and I've claimed them.
By what law?
A new one, admittedly, but fully ratified by the White Forest and quite enforceable. I can read the whole thing to you if you'd like.
But, of course we haven't sown here. The soil was worked and now it needs time to rest.
Very charming bit of folklore, to be sure. But we elves are an industrious race. Demand for corn is at an all-time high right now. To fall back on superstition when others are wanting is, well, it borders on selfish, wouldn't you say? And so if you will not make use of your Galadon-given plenty, the law permits me to.
We know how to work our land. You do not. If you try it yourself, you will fail and starve both our peoples in the process.
I think not. I've all the latest technologies of the White Forest at my disposal.
If you're such good farmers, then why do you need other people's land?
First Snow stepped forward, but was restrained by her companions even quicker than the armed men raised their crossbows.
Now listen. I've tried to explain this all very patiently, but I'm very busy, so pray forgive my bluntness now. This here is my lawful property. If my person or my property is threatened, the full might of the White Forest is legally bound to come to my aid. If I fear they'll not arrive quickly enough, I can afford to hire as many rangers as I may need. My strong preference is that it need not come to that. There, I imagine, we agree. But do not mistake my politeness for temerity. Go back and tell your people that so long as I am unmolested here, then there shall be peace. But aggressions or provocations visited upon me shall be visited back tenfold. Captain, please escort them off the property.
The sun had begun to set by the time First Snow and her companions were out of earshot of the crossbow-wielding men.
What does he mean it's his farm?
Says it's some new Eastern law. This won't stand.
Back east, Nia made her way back to Friar Johansson's chapel, with her feet pounding the cobblestones to match the pounding inside her chest. It required her trained clerical discipline not to break into an outright sprint. She made some effort to watch for elf patrols as before, but her head was hazy with the blood rushing through it.
Frederick, what news?
Nia? Oh, thank Galadon you're all right. I'm so glad I trusted my gut.
What do you mean?
I do wish you had told me the danger you were in, though I of course understand why you felt you couldn't.
What is it you've heard?
Oh, and congratulations are overdue as well. A martial commendation? Why, I never.
Martial oh, Frederick, no.
Nia's knees had already begun to feel weak.
But where are my manners? You'll not have heard yet, and I suppose it's only proper for the bestower to tell you herself.
And then the door to Frederick's office opened. Nia could not see the face of said bestower, silhouetted as it was by the morning sun, but the opalescent armor and flaxen braided hair were unmistakable. It was then that Nia's knees gave out completely.
Nia, what a relief to see you.
The Once and Future Nerd is directed by Christian T. Kelly Madera. It is created and executive produced by Zach Glass and Christian T. Kelly Madera, and co-executive produced by Jess Kelly Madera. Alex Story and Ryan Cushman are associate producers. It is performed by
Rhiannon Angel,
Garrett Arman,
Dan Dobransky,
Anya Gibeon,
Ian Harkins,
Shannon Harris,
Riley Jones,
All Notice,
April Ortiz,
Juliet Prather,
Frank Quarez,
Julie Reed,
Gregory M. Schultz.
Guest performances this chapter by Beth Eyre and Felix Trench. Production audio recording by Jared Paul.
Editing by Christian T. Kelly Madera, Beth Crane, and Brielle Achterhoff. Post-production mixing, Foley, and sound design by Matthew Boudreau and Sarah Buczynski.
Tom Lee is our musical director and lead composer, with additional scoring by Chris Montalvo. For more, visit onceandfuturenerd.com or find us on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, or Reddit.